Hey all you bitches and bros and non-binary hoes! Welcome to my channel! It's been far too long since I vented, but for the sake of not making my videos too long, I'ma get to the point. So go get your ass in the grass. It's rant time. I'm not the most observant person in the world. I won't even notice a Bugatti even if it hit me at full speed. So it takes a lot for me to actually notice things. But there are some things that I do notice that I just gotta get out of my flat chest. In these rough times, post-panoramic, witnessing a couple of World War III scares just in the past 2 years alone, not that it stopped any wars from happening. Earth-chan is dying, inflation is taking the piss, and I'm still not getting paid. Then get a job. If there's anything humans are good at, it's making things worse. So I'm gonna talk about the most pressing issues that's affecting our modern world. Yes, I am talking about the disrespect for the creative pursuits. 'Cause I can! Oh, where are my priorities heading towards? Ooh. The arts took one of the biggest L's in terms of its place in society. And now that I think about it, it always has. You want proof? Just go and tell your parents you plan to take a creative path in life and watch all their hopes and dreams for you levitate from their faces faster than you can say, nothing, because your face will be busy taking in all the hits. And sometimes, some has the audacity to say it's not a real job, it's unessential, it's pointless, and other whispers of sweet nothings. Which wouldn't be as disheartening if the artist themselves wasn't also thinking it too. It is bullshit though! It's all bullshit. Like, are we just gonna disregard how art and design surround us on a daily basis? From the clothes you wear, the graphics on a poster, the design of your freaking house, the hentai you had under your bed, and someone's even designed that bed you're clearly not getting laid on. You fucking neat. The entertainment that you're addicted to. I could go on forever. Like, I haven't seen one house without some crappy wall art from IKEA. I guess what I'm trying to say is, those that expect a fashion designer to get a real job should expect to walk around naked. Ugly fucks. And for those that mock someone aspiring to be an actor, should expect to walk home after long days of work to sit down on the couch and binge looking at the wall. For simplicity's sake, let's focus on the more common view of art. You know, drawing, painting, creating, whatever they do. Contrary to popular belief, it's not as useless as you think it is. The fact that people are still finding careers, be it not everyone, but at least some, shows that there's still something to give a shit about, and when done well, it can even be addicting. Okay, so it might not be all fluff, but hear me out. Even content online is still a form of art, or at least in my opinion. No matter how shitty and pointless and god-awful it may be at times, it still takes a lot more effort than it seems to make. Like editing these dumb videos that hard to get any views. This shit is hard to make, a lot harder than I thought it'd be, oh my god. I've seen now how some channels sometimes have a team of people behind making a single video. And to do it on my own is a... I feel like I shot myself in the foot. But when done well, some of you can't seem to put your phones down. 'Cause bitch, same. Yo, I think we all need to get a life, guys. I'm nowhere near qualified in advising anything on anyone. I'm just ranting on the internet. But art can mean anything for anyone depending on the person. Like, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, wise men say. Like different strokes for different folks. Like, you blind? You can enjoy music. You're not into traditional art? What about gaming? Are you a sadist? There's something for you too. There's literally something for everyone. Nobody gets left behind. Most people think the creative pursuits only benefit a small group of people. But if you look around, it benefits pretty much everyone. But I guess what I think distinguishes something from being just art from good art is if it reaches many people in a positive or thought-provoking way. Which is harder than it looks. gotta respect those that try. But due to how far it branches out, it's a little hard to distinguish its work. There's so many different types of art styles, and many more types of people to appeal to and offend, which is why I think it's impossible to define what art truly is or what its relevance in modern society is, where comfort and convenience and instant gratification is the priority. Because apparently, staying alive is more important than being alive. Today's hottest trend. Surviving is all there is. Which is true. It's true. Come on, it's true. It's been like that since life was a trend. Survival of the fittest. Mother Nature doesn't care about your feelings and neither does your mom. But that's just it. No, not your mom. I mean how art is a long, painful process that takes years to master with no guarantee, no safety net, a lot of shame, and most of the times you don't make it. And all that blood, sweat, and tears, back aching hard work, months of labor for that one end product that you gamble all your efforts, never knowing if it's gonna be your biggest masterpiece or your biggest disappointment. Just like how your mom did when she birthed you. Okay, I'm gonna try to chill out with all the your mama jokes. Art is just another form of expression that words simply aren't enough to express. Culture is art. At its best, it brings people together, and at its worst, you get a literal kind of shit. Yo, this artist literally did the deed on a can and honorably titled set piece as artist shit. And he actually made $300,000. And here I am struggling to buy bread with my shitty weeb art. Huh? Me? Salty? Of course not. I'm not salty. I'm not salty at all. But sir, you cannot just shit there. And then he's just like, oh yes I can. It's art.
Not pay my rent.
I gotta hand it to him though. It takes a lot of balls to expose your fecal matter in such a way. Moving on, despite that drama, I still believe that creativity is still a worthwhile pursuit to get into. So that may be an extreme example of how art could go the deep end. But it would be wrong to categorize all creative pursuits in that unique niche. Design was, and always will be, a crucial aspect of our evolution. Us humans as a species developed alongside our creativity. We won't have gotten this far without it, I would say. It's also the only thing we do successfully that isn't destructive. Well, but pursued through healthier means, it could lead to an infinite loop of inspiration, and then another. And then someone else gets inspired, and then they create their own loop of inspiration, and then another, and another. And I love it. It's like a game of whispers and different interpretations, and you get something new within every piece. It's cute, dare I say, just the darn cutest, wholesome thing humans are capable of. Like, aw, look at this little guy drawing another naked guy. What I'm trying to say is, it takes a lot of balls and self-belief to make it all the way to the end. You know, to make it through all the... It's not a real job. It won't be financially stable. It's a hard career path to get success. What the fuck even is this? What's the point? Is that it? It's no guarantee. Get a real job. Look how much better that other person's work is. It's cringy. It will never be enough. It's not tough enough. Start again. Is it worth it? Was it worth it? Pointless. Should have chosen a different career path. What's the point? You'll never get any money from this. How are you gonna pay your bills? I don't want this. This is shit. You chose this. At first, art was just simply a distraction when I'm bored, lonely, or got a creative spark I don't want to waste. But lately, I've noticed that taking that further is not the same as it used to. These days, I have less time. There's too many ideas, too many good genres I want to perfect and try, or I have bigger concerning priorities, being financially stable, adulting, and many more responsibilities. And whenever I get to release that creative spark, with a lot on the line, the process became very constricted. It was no longer fun. It was no longer an outlet. Instead of it being the outlet it used to be, it becomes something that gave me grief rather than the medium to express my grief. It came with challenges that were more difficult than I thought it'd be. But I am aware that this is what I signed up to. But I was nowhere near prepared for all the Oh, I have to get it done by this deadline. Oh, I have to get it done the way they want it. I can't do the specific thing. I can't look into a certain topic or style because it's frowned upon. I have to record, I have to document everything to a T, or it won't sell, they won't like it, they won't approve, this won't get the grades, this won't look good in the portfolio. To a point, a million things take priority over making the piece itself. This shit ain't easy. To which all is very valid. You do have to think carefully about your work, especially if you want to improve it or take it seriously or get something out of it. Yes, I know this is the real world, which requires much less self-interest. It comes with the territory, and to create, a lot of sacrifices must be made. Stability being one of them, and financial security being a big risk. That awkward moment when you realize you're either really brave or really stupid to be taking this path in life. Oh, you chose this. You don't get to complain.
Well, this is my video. I get to complain as much as I want, bitch.
I know a few people that has more talent in their right thumb than I have in my entire body. And seeing them quit art because of these above reasons is tragic. Now, what makes a tragedy is they constantly make you think of what could have been. A wise woman once said, the greatest movies were never made. So yeah, I just couldn't stop thinking if these people were given the chance and the encouragement. I tend to wonder what they could have contributed towards. What masterpieces are we missing out on?
As cheesy as that sounds.
I get it. To have the privilege of creative freedom, you have to appeal to the masses, not just yourself. You need money, you need time, sometimes you need a team. Not everyone gets that. Which is why I commend anyone that surpass all that, but they're all into it regardless, and produce something to simp about.
Unrelated story time.
So I studied fine art for a bit, and I have seen my fair share of very cool stuff by talented, spectacular people. Even though we were all just learning, we were still in our baby phases, so a lot of our work was a hit or miss. Except for mine, cause
mine was mostly a miss.
But it was fun, and we all learned a lot. But even back then, looking back, I realized how rigged the art game was. So here's the tea. I'm not gonna mention any names, but the tea goes. One student was the teacher's favorite. Very talented lad, smart, and knows the secret to the art game. But he also didn't give a fuck. At the time, at least, as far as I'm aware. He found it so easy, he just didn't put any effort in it at the end. Granted, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but he just didn't want to do it. But being a teacher's number one, poor sweet summer child betted her entire career on this one dude getting an A. Like, I don't know if she betted her left kidney. Oh, she wanted him to pass. She even bent a lot of the rules to ensure that this dude gets a high grade. Like, yo, this bitch even caught the rest of the class literally working together to finish his final piece. And God knows she wouldn't have done that for anyone else, but whatever, it's in the past. Bear in mind, at the time, everyone had their own final projects to finish. And where was he? Mofo was getting wasted. He was getting drunk, man. He was getting drunk. And somehow, against all odds, he still got an A. If that ain't us, I don't know what is. And I kind of get it though. Like, the end of every project is the toughest time, and it's so easy to just slip up when shit hits the fan. Like, I myself have almost taken a bad turn so many times from how impossible finishing a project was. Story for another video. But it goes to show that not everyone has the same chances. Some people are more favored, more talented, and has something to support them, whether it's teachers that would bend the rules and sell a kidney for you, or a secure financial background, or being blessed by the kamisamas. It's a territory not built for everyone, so choose at your own risk. And I guess in a way, it kind of sounds like you're saying you're above it all, or how dare you nominate yourself to be one of the chosen few.
We all had dreams.
What makes you so special?
Not sure how some people get to that conclusion, but those are just the vibes I generally get. It can also be said that art subjectivity has gone too out of hand, and that only the chosen few can truly resonate with a certain piece or to the point that it's so pointless anyone could make effortless crap up just by giving something a fancy title with a fancy reason for existing and label it art. Then expect financial security. I'm looking at you, kind of shit. At least there's genuine reason and intent, I guess. After all, no two turds are alike. But just cause your daddy called your art shit doesn't mean you get to make the rest of us look bad. But hurt, motherfucker. But personally, I like seeing art that ticks all the right boxes. You know, passion, skill, mastery of a medium, a meaningful message, booty, aesthetic, effort. Something that triggers that love at first sight feeling. Whatever that feels like. Maybe it's just a modern art issue, cause I've been in many exhibits and museums and even I've got to admit, sometimes I feel like I'm missing the point too. But it simply doesn't appeal to everybody, and that's okay. Okay, so it might sound like I'm just ranting in circles. I mean, I get it. Some art just don't make sense. Sometimes they feel like random, pretentious, effortless shit with no point or context anywhere to be found that you don't want to get your precious hard-earned tax money going anywhere into. Trust me, I know. I've been to art galleries. But on one hand, there's shit not worth paying for. But on the other, there's borderline exploitation. Let's talk about Van Gogh. Who that? Some guy that liked to paint. The poor guy lived a painful life getting shit on a daily basis, but kept himself going for the sole purpose of, I love playing with paint. Like this poor guy, this poor soul, didn't make any dough. And he was even attacked by the villagers on some occasions. Mostly kids, cause kids are assholes and clearly did not get the chinelas. So yeah, no recognition, no respect, and he got compensated with abuse. Life was fun for the poor guy. For all that though, this chat of a lad continued on cause he felt like there was something of value. Dude was in the zone and he did not apologize for it. His work meant everything to him and that was enough. Until he kicked the bucket, and 200-ish years later, his work is suddenly in the worth of billions. Granted, a lot of effort was put into making his work known, and I'm glad that this legend will now outlive us all, and he will be remembered for the genius he was. Like, when he died, I don't think he fathomed the impact his work would have on future generations. But it doesn't change the way he was treated as he lived. Like, what's the point in living behind a loving legacy worth billions if your entire life was filled with pain and hardship to the point that you can't even get food? Like I mentioned before, what makes something tragic is how it makes you ponder on what could have been. And with his story in particular, I can't help but think if his work was worth that much all along, I can't help but think how it could have provided him a better life. If he knew how loved his work is, it could have appeased his deteriorating mental health and how much less he could have suffered, or how he could have fed him or bought him a mansion, but instead it's buying someone else's mansion. Like, his glory never really benefited him, and where did the money for his paintings go? I don't know. Not being used to feed the guy, that's where. I bet you he feels robbed. I bet you he feels robbed. This is so sad on so many levels because it shows how predatory the lack of respect for artists is. Profiting off the dead and downgrading their efforts during life. This exploitive bullshit was in the 19th century, and you'd think we'd evolved by then, but rinse and repeat, here we are, the 21st century, and still here expecting free art. I mean, there are some design intern jobs or placements for high-end brands that can definitely pay everyone, but simply don't, because interns don't need to eat apparently, and even some animators and mangakas are overworked, underpaid. Heck, I don't even know if they sleep. Heck, we're going full circle just like we did with Van Gogh. In 2020, Queen Han, forgive me if I mispronounce, a beloved artist who's inspired millions, including myself, you'd know if you've seen my art, lost her battle with cancer at the age of 29. She expressed her feeling of living with her illness by creating beautiful art that symbolizes her physical pain. And what happened? Her beautiful art gets stolen as an NFT of all things, with some being sold for £400 after her death. First of all, the audacity to price it that low. And second, everything else. And for you boomers that don't know what an NFT is, it's basically when you create a JPEG of anything, literally anything, and sell them for ridiculous amounts. And these sad sacks stole personal art from a deceased girl for a quick buck. So many other artists are struggling with the same issue. People want art, entertainment, decent products, but simply believe it's not worth paying for, or at least a bare minimum, give the recognition it deserves, even if they're a deceased cancer patient. Yeah, I understand some people simply can't afford. Like if you gotta make a choice between buying bread or some stick doodle little Timmy's made after thinking about becoming the next Bob Ross. I'd pick the bread too. Fuck little Timmy, but not even giving them the recognition or compassion to even consider that this shit takes time, a lot of time and effort, and that they shouldn't be downplayed or taken advantage of. Basic human dignity. And that's how we get assholes stealing from deceased cancer patients. And it's the big companies in particular I got a bone to pick with. The ones that can clearly afford to support people creating for them, but simply hoards the profits. Cause it's such a norm. It's somehow acceptable for people to deem artists as unimportant in society. Just comes with the territory, I guess.
Sir, I would like to know who made these rules up.
Who was the first to say this was okay?
Well, there's fucking one of yes.
In the age where everything is rising, except for our hopes and dreams, the house prices, the need for monetizable validation, etc. If you dare choose to create, express your truth, you gotta prove that you're useful, you gotta stand out from the crowd, but also follow the masses. You got to be marketable. You gotta convince either the big boss man or the masses you can bring something of value to the table at a consistency that would break you. Or they'll ditch you for another person who's either better, faster, or richer, or more talented. Just like any other job. Despite all the drama, does this mean your art shouldn't exist? That the end result isn't worth the above? Should people stop bothering to create? Is your idea still worth anything? Does your irrelevance mean your work doesn't matter? Was it the case for Van Gogh? I'm not saying fake your own death and snatch the money, but should numbers, money, and fame be the only reason to create? I mean, it would help, but... You know that feeling when you learn a new skill, nail a certain aspect of your drawing, nail a certain technique, step back from a finished work and simp for how much better it turned out than you thought it would? Get your first fan. When a doodle you drew as a child made you so proud of yourself for the very first time. Or that feeling in your dick when you become so confident at something to the point it actually looks good? Me neither. Personally, I think that's enough of a reason. Even if life happens and you can't dedicate as much time for it as you'd like, even if it doesn't become your main path in life, it should be enough to keep it part of your path to hell. Instead of abandoning it completely. I think the trap most people fall into is that they're chasing the wrong bitch. They chase the glory, the numbers, the money, algorithm senpai that may or may not notice you, instead of the joys of creating just for the sake of it. The hoe that sure doesn't pay the bills, but boy, does appreciate your company and make you feel like you matter for a moment in your miserable life. Like, bruh, have you ever been in a zone? But I'm sure it's worth trying to get into. Like so many unappreciated artists, from Van Gogh to Senpai Bob Ross to the artists we'll never know names of. If they're addicted to vibing in the zone, face all the mental and physical hardships from other people's doubts, especially their own, then that shit gotta be worth more than the thousands, heck the gazillions you're missing out on. I think that's the awkward stage I'm stuck right now. I'm forgetting about the art and worrying more about what it's not bringing. Oh, the perks of being poor. But whether you're a rich famous singer or a deaf blind old guy making sequin art in someone's basement, I don't care who the fuck you are, what the fuck you're doing, but your craft matters. if there's a little spark of joy in your heart whilst you do it, that's the time you can happily hand over. Heck, even if you're that shit in the can guy, there's intrinsic value in your need to express the disrespect you feel for the disapproval your father has towards the medium that matters to you the most. It's still worth protecting, and I swear on my left nut, you've got every right to do so, king. Otherwise, they wouldn't have paid him 300,000. Fuck my life. You have every right to like or dislike a piece of medium and still respect the fact that others might disagree. No one has the authority to force anyone to change their mind. It's the beauty of freedom. You won't be able to create at all without that freedom. If you like to take part in the creative pursuits, allow yourself to. As long as you're not harming yourself or anyone. And if someone disagrees with you, you don't owe them to change their minds either. Let people be. A wise man once said, releasing art is a radical and defiant act of self-love and bravery. And I think that's worth more than what money could ever buy you, even if you're disrespected or misunderstood for it. Living your truth is living. So you could draw those nudes, shit in a can, rap your poem, sing in a tree and pretend you're in a shower. Make that thing you always wanted to before you forget it forever. If it's legal, yes you can. Any creative thoughts that makes you happy and isn't harming anyone is worth attempting to reach the zone for, and I will be rooting for you all the way, you miserable motherfucker. I feel like I sounded a little salty in this video, so I'm gonna try to be a little bit more positive on the next one. And yeah, that's my my cute little rant. Like I said, I'll try to be a little bit more positive in the next video. And with that, I'll take my leave. Thank you for hearing me out, random person on the internet. Like and subscribe for more, and there's the door. Go draw those nudes.